Hello and welcome to my how to play for Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. This is pretty much a simple guide for those who have played Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and are looking to play these games, but they're just a little daunting, they're a little outdated, and the first thing I want to go over is this hexagonal cursor that you have. It's how you move around. You'll see how it works in combat. It will have a number in it, and it's how many AP points you use. If you right-click, you'll get this action cursor, and if you hold the left click, you can use a few different options on either people or items. You can observe using your perception skill. It says that I'm wounded in the bottom. You can use your backpack on yourself or others, and here I see the variety of options. I can heal myself with a stimpack. I can use a Rad-X or a Rad-Away. It's pretty much just a quick way to use an item on a companion, yourself, or even to assassinate someone. And then the final option is the skill decks that you get, and you might recognize this from other games, where you have all these different skills to use, and there's a percentage with them of their chances for success. And you'll see that some of mine are pretty high. Lockpick is generally pretty important. I'm going to try and use Doctor on myself just to heal myself a little bit. And actually, I wasn't able to do anything, so it's really a matter of chance. You can keep using it on yourself. There we go. I was able to heal myself for 4 points, and I gained experience from it. And so, next thing I want to show is one of the most important parts and one of the most confusing, and it's the combat system. So you'll see that it says Power Kick here. In order to activate it, you click it with the left cursor, and if you hover over him, it'll say the chance of percentage to hit them. If you're far away, it'll say your chances of hitting them, shooting them with a ranged weapon. And I'm actually going to end my combat. There's no enemies since I didn't attack him. And I'm going to go to inventory, and you'll see that I have a gun in the first slot. This is where punch is. You'll be able to punch if that is, if it doesn't have an item in it. And so I'm just going to move this over, so you'll see that I won't be able to kick anymore, but I will be able to punch. And I can switch between these with this red button here. This is how you switch. It does not cost you AP points to use in battle. However, inventory will, and I'll show that as well. So I'm going to go into battle with this guy, and you'll see that I have these green bulbs light up. There are about 10 of them. And down at the bottom, it'll say how many AP points it costs to use whatever item you have up right now. So a haymaker would cost me 3 AP points to use. And sometimes guns or melee or unarmed have different options. So if I right click, you'll see that there's a target here. And it costs 4 AP points. So I'm going to use targeted mode on him. And you'll see it kind of brings up the VATS that you'll recognize from the newer games. This is what VATS is based on. You can aim at additional areas to cripple them. Eyes, it can ruin their perception and their aim. The groin, it can have a critical hit. So that's just how you use the targeted and alternative way of using it. It would cost 4 instead of 3. Or you can do a jab punch, which has additional traits of itself than a haymaker, and you can aim that as well. So I'm going to switch to the gun to show you the additional. So it costs 3 AP for a single shot. Or I could use a burst for 4 AP. And I actually have a perk which doesn't allow me to use targeted with a gun, but if I were to use that, it would cost around 4 AP, and it would be the same way as using your fists. And so you'll see that going into your inventory actually drains some AP, so you want to have any weapons or whatever already equipped, because you want to avoid using your AP points. I'm going to equip the stimpack so that you can see that I can use it on myself. It does cost 2 AP to use it. So I can use it on myself, nothing happens because I already have full health, or I could use it on this guy, and it heals him. And so, that's just something that you can use. You can equip it if you don't want to have to go to your inventory every time, and just to save you a lot of time in battle. So I'm going to end my turn, and since there are no enemies that were going on, it ends combat, and that's how that works. You can try and end the combat right away if there are no enemies. Sometimes you have to give it a turn, and it'll go through all the people in the area, and if there are no more enemies, then it will close. So I'm going to shoot this guy now. and you'll see that it did 25 hit points. Down on the right side is my ammo. See, it went down a little bit. I'm going to use burst just to show how much ammo it wastes up. And you'll see it go down a pretty strong amount. And you'll see one of the very gruesome deaths that Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 have, which are very fun to see, while kind of gross at the same time. My ammo went down a lot, so I'm going to want to have to reload. And I don't really have enough AP points to do anything else, and so I have these 2 yellow ones. That's a perk that I have. It lets me walk 2 steps without wasting AP points. So I can take those 2 steps there, and now I have my green AP point to use. I'll just take that to run a little bit closer to these guys. So they're shooting me. This is your HP right here, and here is your armor right here. That just says how much damage you are going to be resistant to. The higher armor class, the better. So armor is a very strong impact on your gameplay in order to avoid dying right away. You want to keep upgrading your armor as well as your weapons. So I'm going to go to my inventory just to show you. Here's a different armor. My stats go down, my strength went down, and my armor class went down. So the higher armor class, generally the better. It will improve your rate of survival. It can have additional impact on your stats. And next I'm going to show just a general overview of all the rest of the things here. So I've already explained that this is where all messages, when you, like, anything you perceive, extra messages, it will say here. This is like the console. It will say everything that you need to know. Here you have the preferences, save game, load game, exit game. You're going to want to save a lot. I have all of these saved uses, and saving often is important because you never know if you're going to accidentally shoot the wrong person and have the whole town turned against you, if you saved in an area that you just can't escape. You want to be able to load back, so saves are very important. Now I'm going to go to preferences. You're going to see my game difficulties at normal. You can put it on hard. This game is generally hard. It can be difficult, so I keep it at normal, combat normal. These just affect how dialogue, the skills, how effective they are, and then how hard combat is. And my biggest recommendation, one of the first things you should do, is turn the combat speed to fastest. The gameplay can be extremely boring if you have it on normal, and it just takes a very long time, and I can understand how, as it's the default setting to be all the way at normal, how it can kind of deter people from playing this game because it just takes so long. Text delay, you don't have to worry about. Volume, all the stuff down here is all up to you. Target highlight, if you're in combat, it shows red if someone's an enemy, yellow if they could be neutral, or they could be an enemy that's just getting closer to you, and then once they're closer in range, they could be red. Green is an ally, or a companion, or yourself. And then there are combat looks, which shows you, it tells you everything that perception would do anytime that you hold your cursor over someone. So if you're about to shoot someone, it will say that they are wounded already, or anything. I usually keep it off just because I like to use perception when I want it to. So I'm going to get rid of this. Combat messages and combat taunts are always fun to see, verbose. It's really good to see the writing in the game. It's very excellent. I always have running on, it's quick, subtitles off, item highlight. The items on the ground could be hard to see, so once you hover over them, it'll give them a highlight, and then violence level, you gotta have a maximum blood, because that's just, it's amazing. So, here I am loaded again. You'll have the skill decks here. It's another way to bring up your skills. That's more of just a different way to access it. I can use Doctor on myself instead of holding it on myself, or I can use Lockpick on a door to lock it or unlock it. There's the map, which you will have different areas in a town that you can skip through. You can have high res or low res. This will kind of show just a little bit more detail, but it's not too important. And then you can have the add-on of the scanner, which will show you a motion sensor of everyone who's in the map. This is one of the most important screens. It's the charisma screen, your character, where you'll see your perks, karma, and like your kills, people you've killed, men, women, your karma in each town. The perks that you have, I have Gifted and Fast Shot. Gifted is typically kind of seen as cheating. It gives you 1 extra boost to all your stats, but it does take away 10 on each skill. I tagged small guns, energy weapons, lockpick, and speech. I actually got energy weapons later on in the game using the perk tagged. Because energy weapons and big guns just aren't important at the beginning of the game, and really, maybe the last few missions, energy guns and big guns are important, as you don't have access to them until you really meet the Enclave. And lockpick and speech are essential. Small guns, it's a good way to survive. It works with all rifles, SMGs, and pistols. If you're radiated, if you have eye damage, if you're poisoned, crippled. It says your armor class, weight, how much damage you do with melee, your resistance to all the different types of things, what sequence you come in combat. The higher the sequence, the better. Your chance of critical, experience level, all that good stuff. Your age, your name. I highly suggest creating a character. It's extremely important because all the characters that they have as default just suck and they're just not good, and you won't have fun with this game if you pick one of those. And then you have the Pip-Boy, the classic old Pip-Boy 2000. So you can rest. However, I can't rest at this location. But if I were to rest, it would have 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever. And it'll just have all these different options of you to pick from. And you can rest until you're healed, you can rest until your party is healed. And it can help with skipping if a mission requires you to wait a little bit of time. You have the date up here and the time and military time. But then also, you'll get messages in the game from your village and a vision as time goes on. So if you go to status, you'll be able to see all of the missions, all the details of things that you still need to be doing. In case you needed a reminder, you have data that you've collected through holotapes. You can see all this great writing that Interplay has done with the background of all these towns, groups. This is for the Enclave. Then you have auto maps. You can view the maps of all the towns. And then you have the archives of videos. And you'll see some of these at the beginning of the game if you were to play, but... So, now that we have all this down, I am going to skip ahead. So here we are with a lot of my companions. However, I'm going to have Marcus come with me. I'm going to go to a shop. However, you will see that there's these green dotted lines. This is to go to a different part of the town. If it's red, then it will be to leave the map entirely. But just so that you know what to look for, if you're trying to find other parts of town, just look for the green areas and it'll take you somewhere else. It could take you to the woods. That's at the current city. It could take you to an inner part of the village. And so I'm going to go down to this shop right here. This is still in Vault City. It's on the outskirts. And I'm going to come up to this shopkeeper. I'm just going to try and barter with him. This is how the barter system works. So you talk to them. And you can have additional options. You can try and get a discount at some points, depending on who the shopkeeper is and how they view you. And I'm going to click, I'm going to trade, can I see what you have in stock? Sometimes, if you don't click the dialogue option, then their prices will be higher. The barter discount won't come into effect. Or if they favor you at all, usually you have to use the dialogue option or else their favorability doesn't come into factor. And so you'll see that there's the dollar amount at the bottom, and I'm going to show each item has its own value, just as the other games have operated. And in order to trade, the barkeep or the store owner right now would prefer this deal because they're getting a lot more out of it than I am, and so they would happily accept this. However, if I were to just give them something that costs next to nothing, they'll say that your offer is not good enough. You'll have to match it almost exactly or give them more than they want. So I'm actually just going to talk to him now, and I'm going to leave this. You can search tables, shelves, and interact with different areas within towns and locations that you find. There will be lockers or foot lockers, all these different things. When you're in a shop, interacting with a table or dresser can trigger the shopkeeper to open a different type of inventory. And in this town, not so much. All of his shelves are empty. But sometimes he'll have recycled items within them. And it can open different types of stock, so they might have doctor things on one table, combat on the other. So it's always good to snoop around and see what shopkeepers have. And I'm going to show you dialogue with a talking head. This is Marcus. You'll recognize him from Fallout New Vegas. At the Snow Peak ski lodge. And here you'll see it's a talking head. It's there's a few of them within the game. Not everyone has a talking head, but Marcus is a special character. And as a companion, I can trade with him, or I can control his combat, or I can talk about distance with him, his gear, and what weapons he uses, if he needs to holster a weapon, if it's a town that doesn't like weapons being out, or I can tell him to wait.
Right.
I'm going to tell him that he should stay close to me because he tends to have some friendly fire when far away. And so, if you go to combat control, you can tell them to use their best weapon. He can't use armor, but they can use their best armor. What type of disposition they should have, if they want to be berserk, aggressive. I have them on custom, which it's fun to tweak so that they don't hit you with their burst or run away too much. If they should prefer ranged or melee, distance of how close they should be to you in combat, who to attack, and whether when to use stimpacks. I'm going to trade with him now, just because he's overloaded, and so when you're over encumbered, you know that you go slower, and so I'm just going to take some items back from him. I can carry a lot, so let's see what else I can grab from him. It'll say the weight at the bottom, so that you can figure out how much to take away from them or to give them if you have too much weight. And he will not give me whatever I put down if it's too much weight for me. And so it kind of controls, I was able to take all that. It kind of controls just so that you don't end up having too much on you at one point. And so there you'll say that you cannot carry that much. I'm only able to carry this much because I have the power armor on, which increases your strength by a large amount. I'm going to give him some of this ammo back. And there we go. So that's how a talking head works, and just how kind of dialogue works. Usually you want to watch what you say to people, because if it were an NPC who is not a companion, then it can cause them to become hostile depending on what you say. There can be some humorous lines leading into action, or there can be lines that are a speech check, which so it's always good to read everything. And even if they're lengthy, as I've said, there's amazing writing in this game, and it's very worth it to read everything. And it really gets you engulfed in the world. And I'm gonna skip ahead again. So here you see that I have the highwayman right here. I have a car, which you are able to get, and I highly suggest trying to find it and getting it all together, because it makes traveling much easier. But you'll see this red dotted area right here. That's to leave the map, as I've said. And so I'm just going to use the car because, as I've said, convenience. Now it'll take me to the traveling map. And you'll see on the right side that there are all of the cities and towns to the right that you can use a quick guide to. It'll take you straight there, but all these cities and towns are in a green circle, and you'll see that some smaller ones that aren't even on here will be here for you to find, so it's good to search the map. You'll move a lot faster in the car. You go at a grueling pace if you don't have a car. And your movement speed depends on the terrain, so on this rough terrain it goes a little bit slower, and compared to up here, you'll go a little bit faster, especially if you're walking. So I'm just going to try and find a random or special encounter, just running around the waste. You want to click around. There's Fog of War, and so let's see what we found. We found some geckos and some wolves, so let's go ahead and fight them. And so this is just an example of a random encounter. Sometimes there will be cool things like a bunch of casino gang members fighting some robbers, and you can wait for them to battle it out and then take out the leftovers. So right here's an example of battle. You'll see there's a red outline around everyone. The wolves and the geckos might be fighting, I'm not sure at this point, but this is a very good gun, so you'll see all these different types of death animations, and my turn I don't have enough AP points. And it's kind of turn-based combat. Everyone will come at you, taking their turn. Sometimes you'll get more turns than other people, depending on their stats. I'm going to go to a different gun. So I'm going to try out these different guns just so you can see a taste of how they are. So this is a special gun, a rare gun that you can get later on in the game. It is an alien blaster, which it's featured in a few other games as an Easter egg. Does not look like Marcus is going to attack anyone. So I guess I'll just handle it myself. And as you see, I was able to miss a few times, and so are the other animals. It's harder to aim at nighttime. The daytime will make it easier to hit targets. The darkness will obstruct the target. And same with things in the trees. The percentage will be affected if you are in cover. So let's see if I can end this. Yeah, yep. So I'm out of range of these geckos, and so I was able to end it. They saw me. It starts up back again. Sometimes with stealth, I need to reload, which costs 2 AP. Sometimes with stealth, you can kill people without others knowing, and you can end combat right away. I'm not much of a sneaking person, and so I usually will just run and gun, kill everyone around me. But there you have it. That's pretty much a basic example of gameplay within Fallout 1 and 2. It can be extremely fun to get through the game, to level up, to customize your character, gain companions, and do all the quests. It's a very interesting, funny, dark world, and there's a lot to do in all the towns. And I highly recommend for you to pick this up and to play it on your own. And now that you know how to play, hopefully it's a lot easier and you can pick it up and learn a little bit more about the Fallout universe and keep on getting further into the game, and then you can say that you beat them all. So thanks for watching. I hope this was able to help out, and I hope you have a good day. See you.